This fall, I've been considering, and unbeknownst to you, in a series of these Lord's Supper talks, a theme of the emotional resolve that Jesus had to go through during his last week, and certainly longer than that. But as disciples of his, I think that there are certain traits that we can call on that Jesus exhibited in his darkest and hardest hours here on earth. Compassion. When we're going through a tough time, how hard is it to be compassionate? When we are having moments of our own, how easy is it to turn to others and forgive while we are being persecuted? How is it that we are readily available to say, forgive them? But today I want to talk about an amazing strength shown to us as his disciples of humility. And as his disciples, I think we should understand what he did in these last days. And if he can do it in his hardest moments, we can do it in our day-to-day life. Humility doesn't come naturally to us as humans. It's a choice. And we need to train ourselves daily, just as you would with any discipline. First, I want us to consider in Matthew 21, his entrance into Jerusalem. I think we all know that the Jews were hoping for the glorious rise of their king, their savior, to lead them to a new kingdom and overthrow the Romans. But that's not what we see. When Jesus enters, he doesn't enter on war chariots and white horses. He enters on a humble donkey. Fulfilling a prophecy, yes, but also, I think, showing a clear sign of what he was here to do. It was not to lead men against men, but rather there was something greater, something unexpected, something that we didn't see. And through showing this differently, he also showed his great humility. And for us, humility means the same thing. Stepping away from the world's definitions of success and status and focus on the kingdom of peace and the kingdom of hope and gentleness. The second step in humility that he showed during his last week was at the Last Supper. What did he do? He got down and he served his disciples. Imagine him knowing he's about to die, and he gets down on his hands and feet and washes the dirty feet of his disciples. We've all thought of this before. So surely he had a lot on his mind. Surely his heart was heavy. And yet he did something for those disciples that they could not repay. And afterwards, in that example, he said, I have set this example for you so that you should repeat it. Do as I've done for you. We need to be looking for ways to serve others. We need to be looking for ways to humble ourselves and do things when there is no reward, when there is no thanks, when there is no repayment. I also think of humility as he stood in silence against his accusers in Matthew chapter 26. He faced many false accusations in several different courts, and yet he didn't make a defense for himself. He had a purpose. Were these accusations fair? Were they lobbied at? Did he have a right to clear his own name? Certainly. But humility looked like holding back the honor that was due to him, or demanding the honor that was due to him, and trusting God and his plan. And you could probably point to 4 or 5 other examples. But I think ultimately this life of humility was culminated in the Garden of Gethsemane, knowing his imminent doom when he prayed to the Father. And he said, take this cup away from me if you will it. But it's not my will, yours be done. And he humbled himself. He humbled himself in his own fear, in his own will, in his own desires. And he did what God wanted to be done. And this ultimate moment revealing how to be humble is a lesson that we should take forward as we go through this service and into our week. But we're here to partake of the Lord's Supper this morning. And I urge us to look at the lessons that were displayed for us as he suffered in that last week. And we need to step away. We need to step away from our own pride and our own greatness. We need to look for ways to serve others. And we need to surrender our plans and surrender our will in humility to God. Let's reflect on this discipline of humility as we partake this morning.